Yeah. Well, y'all ready to have church? Yes. You know, I was thinking about this morning, and I thought, you know what, I ain't quite finished with Friday night. So how many of you were here Friday night? Yeah, good. So the Lord started dealing with me yesterday and kind of added on to Friday night. So we'll just do an add-on. Y'all want to do that? Good, add-on. And the title of my message this morning is Choose Life. Choose life. So let's just turn to the scripture and get right to it this morning. And we'll look at a couple of things. Deuteronomy chapter 30, you all know it's in there, but we're going to look at it anyway. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. It says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Now, if you were to walk up to someone today, just any person out of a crowd, and you were to walk up to them and you were to say, you have a choice today. You can choose to live or to die. What would their response to you be? Live. Instantly, they would say, live, right? You know, you always hear the joke, about people saying, they're taking up a busload to go to heaven. And people say, well, I don't want to go now. I do want to go, but I don't want to go now, right? And that's kind of the gist of what people say. Yeah, I want to go to heaven, but not right now. So people choose life. But get around them for just a few minutes, and you wonder if that's really what they choose. Right? Okay, let's look at a couple of things and I'll explain it to you. I don't want to just look at the scriptures. I want to look at what you say and what you do. Uh-oh. You wake up in the morning. I wake up in the morning. How many of you did your homework assignment? I want to see. How many of you got up and danced the last 2 mornings around your bed? Huh? 1, 2. No dancing. But laughing. Yeah. A couple of y'all did your laughing, working homework assignment. Yeah. What happened to the rest of you? It doesn't apply, right? The word doesn't apply to you. I got it. It applies to everybody around you, but it doesn't apply to you. You know, the hardest thing, the worst thing, the saddest thing, the thing that is, as a minister, the most upsetting, as a pastor, the most thing that just frustrates you and upsets you and hurts you the most is to see people that you truly care about and love and want to help, and you would do anything that you could to help them, go down the tube. How many of you are parents in here? And how many of you have ever seen your kids go the opposite direction than you want them to go? Is it frustrating? Is it hurtful? Do you just want to shake them and say, stop it? Do you just want to take them and say, you're going the wrong way? You just want to take them and say, okay, come on, let me grab you by the hand and pull you this way, and let's fix this. But can you do it? What happens when you try to do that with somebody? Huh? It gets worse. How many of you in here have ever been a teenager? And your parents told you not to do something? Huh? What is the very first thing that you did? You saw how quickly you could do it. Or don't date that guy, or don't drink that, or don't smoke that, or don't do this, or don't go there. You would sneak out of the house and you'd change your clothes, or you'd do this, or you'd do that. Okay, don't be holier than thou. You did it twice. Only just twice, Jack. Just to make sure it, yeah. Each time, twice, yeah. Twice. At least Jack's honest, you know. The rest of you, yeah. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about. So it's the same way with being a pastor. You see somebody going down the wrong road, and you try to tell them, and it's kind of like they're going to turn and go the opposite direction just to prove to you that you're wrong. Just to prove to you that you're not smarter than them. And can you help them when they do that? No. So, the Word said, the joy of the Lord is your strength. And nobody in here but 5 people danced around the room. Huh? So we don't want to be strong, or we don't care. The Word says choose life. It's our choice what we have happening in our lives. It's our choice what's going on every single day in our life. And death is happening in people's lives every single day that they walk. Death. Death is happening when you walk out, when you get up in the morning till the time you go to bed at night. Why? Because there's a devil in this world that's trying to make sure that everything that you put your hand to, there's death that can come about. And it's our job to make sure that that doesn't happen in our lives. God has given us a choice to choose life. Now, there's a lot of people in this world that, as they go through life, they are totally moved by their circumstances and the things that are around them. They wake up in the morning, and if it's raining outside, they're sad. Right? Or if it's cold outside, they're miserable and they're cranky. And if the toast got burned, or if the printer didn't work, or if the coffee pot wasn't plugged in right, uh-oh. Or if you spilled the milk, or if you drop something, or if everything doesn't go just right, what happens? Huh? Do you snap at somebody else? Do you get cranky? Huh? Yes, ma'am. Crabby? Huh? What happens to us? Why does that sort of thing happen? Because we didn't get up out of the bed and do our happy dance around the bed. We let the circumstances of life control who we are and what we are because we're not strong enough. God says for us to choose life. And when we choose life, it affects us and everyone around us. But what's happening is, instantly the devil will throw something in your lap that says, deal with this. Deal with this. Then you have about 1 whole second to make a choice how you're going to react. And 1 whole second to get this mouth in gear with what your spirit is telling you to do. And what you say out of your mouth decides how it's going to go for you. Look with me, if you would, at at Proverbs 18, chapter 21. In the King James. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that, what? Love it shall eat the fruit thereof. The Amplified says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they who indulge in it shall eat the fruit of it, death or life. The Living Bible says, those who love to talk will suffer the consequences. Men have died for saying the wrong thing. The Message Bible says, just very plainly, words kill, words give life. They're either poison or fruit, you choose. Now, the bad part about it is, when you get up and you begin to have a bad day, or you begin to, things not go right. You burn the eggs, or you burn the toast, or the kids come in and they're screaming, or something happens that didn't go the way that you wanted it to go because you didn't get up and do your happy dance around the bed. The people around you begin to feel the effects of your choosing life or death. It's not just you that feels those effects. The words that come out of your mouth begin to spew things about life or death. They begin to spew what you truly believe in your heart. And it begins to tell what you are and who you are. It begins to tell what's inside of you. You can't hide what's inside of you very long. You may hide it when you come to church with the few people you come in contact with for 15 minutes, but you know what? When you get up in the morning and you step on that toy and it cuts a hole in the bottom of your foot, what's going to come out? It's like Keith used to tell this scenario. He used to say, you know, let's do a test on you. Let's wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and take a little ball-peen hammer and take your hand and let's just put it on the nightstand and let's hit it with it and see what spews out of you. Because like a sponge, when you mash it, if you spilled Kool-Aid on the floor and you cleaned up the Kool-Aid, what's going to come out of that sponge? Kool-Aid. Okay, if you cleaned up the milk with it, what's going to come out of that sponge? If you cleaned up chocolate milk's going to come out. But if you cleaned up water, water's going to come out, right? Well, it's the same thing inside of you. If you sat up all night long and watched something you shouldn't have watched, what's going to come out of you? If you sat up and watched violence all night long, what's going to come out of you? Hardness. Huh? You think it won't, but hardness will come out of you. There's no way that you can continue to put hardness in you and hardness not come out of you. What you put in you will come out of you, and it'll come out in your words. And it will affect every person that's around you. And it will affect your life. And you will begin to show who you are by what you put in you. And who it affects are those that are around you, because you have no fruit of the Spirit then. You have no patience, you have no long-suffering, you have no gentleness, you have no kindness. You have none of those things working in your life. Because all you have is what you put in you. And if all you put in you is that action show that somebody's killing somebody and beating somebody up, that's what's in you. That's what comes out of you. You're a sponge, just like a sponge. And you just put in an action show where you beat everybody up. What's going to come out of you? Meanness, hardness, coldness, selfishness. That's what's going to come out of you. You don't have a choice. You are a sponge. And what you get around comes out of you. Evil communications does what? Corrupts good manners. So whoever you're around and whatever you're around gets in you. It becomes a part of you. And you can't continue to feed on things and see things and do things that affect who you are, because it only affects you and those around you. Now let me read you this verse in Galatians, verse 6:1. Brethren, this is King James, if a man is overtaken in a fault, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of meekness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. Now the Amplified says it this way. It says, if any person is overtaken in misconduct or sin of any sort, you who are what? You who are, wait, now part of you said it. Now you know me, I'll walk right up in the back and sit in your lap. You who are what? Spiritual. How many spiritual people do I have in here this morning? Just be honest. How many? Okay. Spiritual people do what? Who are responsive to and controlled by the Spirit should set him right and restore and reinstate him without any sense of superiority, with all what? With all what? With all what? Gentleness. Keeping an attentive eye on yourself, lest you should be tempted also. Now, let me ask you a question. How in the world can you restore someone to their state with God when you don't even know your state with God? What happens to people when they mess up? They're condemned. They pull away from God. Pride makes you do that. When you mess up, you don't want anybody to know that you messed up. When you mess up about something, what did Adam and Eve do when they sinned? They hid. What is human nature to happen to you when you mess up? Your natural tendency is to hide. You stop going to church. You stop hanging around the people that might pick up on the fact that you messed up. That's what human nature is. That's what people do. But people that are spiritual should be able to restore people that do that. But what's happening is, if everybody is messing up and everybody is pulling away, who is there to restore anybody? And if everybody's waking up in the morning in a foul mood and you don't have anything good to say to anybody, who's got any gentle and kind words to say when everybody's waking up not in a good mood? Who's got anything that's good or anything that's kind or anything that's gentle? Who can go to somebody when they don't have any patience left inside of them? They don't have any strength left inside of them. They have nothing to give. There's nothing left inside of them to give to anyone. They're just barely making it through the day themselves. So how do they have any patience to give to somebody else that's doing something wrong? Maybe it's a spouse. Maybe your spouse is living just like the devil. Maybe he's calling you names. Maybe he's doing everything wrong. Maybe he's messed up over and over and over again. Maybe she has said everything wrong. Maybe she's going through the change of life and she is treating you like a dog. I'm serious. You who are spiritual should be strong enough, because you're built up enough to let something like that just brush off of you. Because you have patience and you have gentleness and you have kindness, because you are spiritual enough. But what's happening is nobody is truly spiritual enough anymore, because everybody is messing up and nobody has any patience for anything, because they're putting other things inside themselves. And no word, and no patience, and no kindness, so there's nothing to come out of them but meanness and hardness and stiffness. If you want, if you fill yourself with sugar, you know, you've seen that commercial where the little kids are on the soccer field. And they said, you are what you eat, and the little kid is a box of French fries. Right. Well, that's the way it is, truly. Yeah. We are what we eat spiritually. We are not physical beings. We are spiritual beings. And if we keep feeding ourselves on things that are going on around us, and we keep feeding ourselves on things that we see, and we keep listening to things that we shouldn't listen to, and we keep hearing things that we shouldn't hear, and we keep listening to what people are saying, and we keep letting our own mouths speak words about ourselves and those around us that feed death into us and into them, then where is the life going to come from? Right. Now, we all said we would choose life. How many of you said you'd choose death? Oh, see, you raise your hands too quickly. How many of you said you would choose death? Right? Okay, so when somebody messes up, do you immediately say, you messed up? Or your own self? We're the worst critical judges on ourselves. And hide and condemn ourselves. Oh, I'm just an idiot. I can't get up in front of people. I can't do this. Look at my hair. It just looks horrible. Who wants to go and see somebody that looks like that? Look at you gained 5 pounds. Look at you did this, you did that. You're just the worst critical judge of yourself. And you've got your words working against you. And if you're constantly putting yourself down, how are you going to have any good words to say about anybody else? But we are supposed to choose our words and choose life in every word that comes out of our mouth. Everything that comes out of these lips should be to edify or exhort ourselves and others. But what's happening is if we don't have anything good in us, there's nothing good that can come out of us. Where is it going to come from? You know, I think about, I've not watched a lot of, you've heard me say this, a lot of television programs or a lot of things on TV or a lot of movies or stuff. But years ago, I watched that movie, Forrest Gump. How many of you have seen Forrest Gump? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's not a scripture. Did you know that? I know what I'm going to get. Good things and blessings. But I thought about that, and when we moved to Sarasota, I had the privilege of meeting someone that knew the actual character that Forrest Gump was based upon. And they live right there close to the church and to us. And they told us the whole story behind it. And it's a really good story behind the guy that actually Forrest Gump was based upon. Well, in thinking about that, just this morning when I was getting ready, the Lord reminded me of that. And I thought about that, and I thought about, you know, God takes the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. Does He not? If He didn't, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you. Understand that. But what He does is He takes things that are simple and things that people don't understand and makes a big deal out of them. And I thought about that. I thought about Forrest Gump. Do you know he knew he was dumb, but do you know he became one of the wealthiest people that there was? Because why? He didn't let what other people said about him, and he didn't say bad things about himself. He just said good things about himself and about others. Now, what about if we begin to do that very thing? What about if you were as dumb as Forrest Gump? And you know, Forrest was pretty dumb. He'd cut that grass. What was the deal? Do anybody remember? For $1 gazillion? Something like that? I don't remember. But anyway, what if you are just as dumb as a post? I'm not going to call you dumb, but what if you feel like you're as dumb as a post? Do you know it is not your physical brain that makes you smart? It is the Spirit of God that is in you that makes you know all things and be able to do all things. And it is the same way with the person that is beside you. Maybe they have really messed up. Maybe they've messed up over and over and over and over again. Maybe they mess up from the time they get up in the morning till the time they go to bed at night. Maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your cousin, maybe it's your sister, maybe it's your aunt. I don't know who it is that you have to come in contact with all the time that really irritates you. If you keep confessing over them all the things that they do wrong, are they going to get better? How long have you been doing that? How long have you been saying, you're just an idiot? Or how long have you been saying, you can't do anything? Or how long have you been saying, we'll never make it? Things are not getting any better. How long have you been saying, our marriage is just useless? Or how long have you been saying, we just can't make it, I don't know what's going to happen, we never seem to have enough money? How long have you been saying those things? What needs to happen is you need to get full of some other words. And sometimes what people need to do is, just now when Rick was standing up here telling about these buildings and stuff over there, sometimes you have to uproot stuff. You've been fed stuff your whole life the way that things are. And I thought about this building over here, this shack. In order for us to build something nice and new and beautiful over here, what did we have to do? We had to tear down that shack. We had to take that bulldozer and just knock the thing completely down. And that's what needs to happen in some people's lives. You need to knock down those thought processes about how bad that person is, or about how bad you are in your own life. And you need to quit thinking those thoughts, and you need to get true words working in your life. You need to get positive words working in your life. It's easy for me to lose weight. I have a great marriage. They're a good wife. My boss is the easiest to get along with. I have favor with everybody I come in contact with. All my bills are paid. I have the joy of the Lord living inside of me. I'm never depressed. I'm healed from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. Maybe you woke up this morning and every joint in your body was aching and hurting, and you're getting older and you just woke up and you thought, I am so tired of feeling bad. Why do I always feel bad? Whoa. Huh? Why do you always feel bad? How long have you been saying that? It's just like me. If one of our staff messes up or somebody at church messes up, and what if I come in and say, why does Jack always do that? Why does he always do that? What am I decreeing over him? He always does that. Why can't I decree he always does something good? And get my words working and helping him do something good instead of against him to help him do something bad. We should choose life in our life and help people to overcome in their lives. You who are spiritual. How many spiritual people are in here? I asked you that. Now, some of you ain't raising your hand this time. Why is that? Because you have to help somebody? That's who we are. That is our job. If your brother stumbles and he falls and he slaps you clear across the face and you wind up with a black eye, what should you say? Oh, he just stumbled in that hole. Here, let me help you up. You didn't mean to slap me, just like what Keith says. Let me help you. I know you didn't mean to do that. You who are spiritual, find something good to help them. Find something good to say about them. Find something good. Well, you may have messed up on that, but you know what? We can get it. Well, I'll help you get it. I know Brother Hagin, he was the most solid man any person could ever see. He had people all around him doing things to him constantly, all the time. You know, and he'd come, bless his heart, you know, we'd be around students and we'd be around people, and they'd say things that he said. They'd say, let's see how they'd say it. They'd say, when you're trying to believe God to hear from him about something, and if God doesn't say anything, it's just the same as him saying, yes, do it. They used to say that all the time. But Brother Hagin never said that. Brother Hagin said you need to hear from God, and if he doesn't say anything, that means he didn't say anything. That doesn't mean yes. And he'd sit there and he'd say, where do they get all these ideas from? They sat right there on the front row and I didn't say that. Where did they get that from? And it would get so frustrating to him. But you know what? He was just constant, the same. You never saw him one day wake up and he was just as grumpy as could be and hard to get along with, and he didn't want anybody around him. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm having a bad day. Never. You never saw that about him. This didn't go good today, so y'all just leave me, give me my space today. You never saw that. He was constant the same. He was always happy, always ready to serve God. It didn't matter what anybody did to him or didn't do to him. Why? Because he had enough word in him to not be moved by all the things that were going on around him. He was spiritual enough to be able to help you. And see, that's where we've got to get. We've got to build ourselves up enough to where we don't just care about ourselves, we care about the person sitting next to us. So maybe they did snap at us today. Do we wear our feelings on our sleeves so on the edge that if they say something short to us, we just lose it instantly? That we don't have any spiritual strength inside of us, that we can't just say, oh, they're having a bad day. It's not good for you to do that to anybody. And I'm not saying it's okay for you to go burst out at somebody. But we who are spiritual should be strong enough that if someone does do that to us, we don't just explode on them. We don't just fall apart because somebody says something negative about us or does something mean to us. We don't just fall in a bundle of, oh, me, they don't like me anymore. They said something bad about me. We choose life, and we choose the positive, and we choose that we're going to not be the sad sack, and we're going to choose to not say the bad things about them. We're going to choose our words wisely. Even though they did and said bad things about us, what are we going to say about them? We're going to turn right around, and we're going to say, Jack's a good guy. That man can cook. That man is nice. Every time I'm around him, he's saying nice things about somebody. He's always there. He's always faithful. Maybe he does have one area that he's messed up on. Why magnify the one area that somebody messes up on and forget all the other areas that they do well on? Why is human nature that way? That it seems like you'll find the one area that somebody, Gary may not comb his hair right, I don't know, you know, so that ponytail back. Gary knows I don't care about his ponytail. But, you know, and pick on him about his hair. When everything else he does is great. But people have had a tendency to find the one area that somebody does and talk about that area and gossip about that area. Our words that come out of our mouth, if we're really truly spiritual, should be words that build people around us up. They should not be the words that you find, why did you say that? Why did you that? You were 5 minutes late. You were this, you were that. You were, why did you have to do it that way? Why can't you ever do what I want to do? Why can't you? And be people that are not spiritual enough to know who they are in Christ. And see, that's what happens is when we're insecure in ourselves, when we're not secure in who we are, we're always trying to find our identity in who they are. We're always trying to be strong in who someone else is. I know I used to do it. I used to do it in Keith all the time. Is why I can talk to you about it. I used to be so insecure in who I was. I used to not be secure in being Phyllis Moore at all. I used to think the only person I am is Keith Moore's wife. And I didn't have any confidence about myself at all. I didn't have any confidence about being around anybody. It was not until I realized it doesn't matter how much of the Bible Keith Moore knows. Until I learn the Bible for myself and find out who I am in Christ and find out what works for me and how to stand for me and find out what the Word does for me and what Jesus did for me, it does not matter how much Keith Moore knows. He cannot talk to God for me. He cannot be strong in my spirit for me. And that's what's happened to us as a whole, is we think that we can just be strong in our spouse or not in our spouse, or in someone else that we're around. We've got to find out who we are and let our words build people up around us. Be strong enough to where if something happens around us, it doesn't just move us. It doesn't just blow us out of the water. We're spiritual enough to where if this man here says, that was the lousiest sermon I ever heard. Why would she even say those things? I mean, I've got letters like that saying, why would you even let her in the pulpit? She don't have anything good to say, Brother Moore. Why would you let her up there? And I have to get right back up there. I can't be moved by that. I have to realize, well, maybe it helped one person. Maybe I helped one person. If 3/4 of the crowd wasn't helped, maybe there was one person that I said something to that it set them on a different course, it saved their life, it got them going in the right direction, and maybe they're not going to go to hell. Amen. And that's what I have to believe. And you have to believe the same thing. You have to believe that the words that are coming out of your mouth are going to set somebody on a different course. They're going to set somebody on a different path. You're going to encourage them to do something right. But if you don't have those words in your mouth for yourself, you can't have them for anybody else. If the devil's tried to condemn you about something you've done, that's what I said. We talked about it Friday night. His mercies are new every morning. Get up, dance around your bed, slap him in the face, get your Bible out instead of seeing that action show or that romantic novel show that says what your husband is supposed to be, because they just lie. I ain't never seen a man like what is on those romantic shows. I ain't never seen one. I ain't never seen one. Now, ladies in here, be honest for 5 minutes. Let's watch those romantic shows. How many of you have truly ever seen a man that is that way? Now, maybe he's done one thing like that in 5 years, but that's ever been that way all the time. Raise your hand. That's just exactly what I thought. So why do you sit there and watch him and get your underwear in a bunch? And ruin your whole marriage over it. And start thinking that some other man on the other side of the auditorium is better for you than the one you're sitting next to. And start saying words about, I've got a horrible husband or a horrible marriage. And choosing your words terrible. When you should be saying things like, I've got a great man. God gave me a wonderful man. He gave me just exactly the right man for me. Hey, I could be single right now, living on my own. I could be all alone by myself, crying in my pillow tonight. But I ain't. I got a husband that loves me. Maybe he didn't bring me a flower today. Did you bring him one? And the same thing for you guys. Maybe she don't look like a Victoria's Secret model. But what do you look like? Stop saying those bad things over her. Stop saying those bad words over her. Start saying good words over her. She's a good wife. God bless me. A man that finds a wife finds a what? Favor. And obtains what? Favor. Do you want to undo all your favor? No. By losing her? You just obtained mega amounts of favor by obtaining a wife. Do you want to undo it? Absolutely not. I mean, you looked in the mirror lately? I mean, she may not be a Victoria's Secret model, but what did she get? You know? And maybe you do think you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. But you know what? I know a lot of women that don't care about what a man looks like. Just, he's got to be nice to her. Right. Treat her like dirt. She's liable to get up and walk out in the morning. That's right. Amen. It's the truth. People never appreciate what they have. They always want what somebody else has got. And the thing about it is, if you sit down with them for 30 minutes, you're going to find out they got problems of their own. Whether they pretend like they do or they don't. Everybody in this world has had issues that they've had to overcome. And if they hadn't overcome them, they still got them. Get your words working for you instead of against you. Start making good confessions about your wife. Make good confessions about your kids. Start building them up. Don't let the little things in life tear you apart. Be who God intended for you to be. Choose life in your life. Instead of looking at all the negatives, get that paintbrush out. Paint you a portrait of something that you enjoy seeing and start going towards it instead of this dark, dreary, black portrait that you have before you. Tear that one down. Get your bulldozer out. Who's up in the TV booth right now? I'm going to show something Keith doesn't know we're going to show it. Show it. Who's up there? Devin, are you up there? He's never in first service. He sleeps too late. Devin's here? Devin, he's here. Okay, Devin, I love you. Thank you for being here. Devin knows I love him. Devin, can you play that bulldozer thing? Let's see how quickly it shows it. It crashes. It looks like a toy. Have y'all seen that yet? Oh, y'all are going to love it. And then it'll put an image in your minds and hearts. Put it up there whenever you can. Devin, I don't know if you've even got it. Do you got it? Does he have it?
I think he's working on it.
Good. He should be working on it. But what it'll do is it will plant something in your heart. That you tear down the bad stuff that's going on. You tear down the bad thoughts. Maybe it happened 5 minutes ago. Don't let the devil make you wrap your mind around that. Get your words working for you in the right direction. Get your words saying the positive. Never let a negative thing, it is like it said poison. It's like words kill, words give life. They're either poison or fruit. How many of you would just, right now, who was that Jim Jones that made people, okay, go ahead and show it, Devin. Then we'll talk about it. Watch this. Now, think about your bad things in your life. That's what this is. All the bad stuff in your life. I want you to see it. The negative words, the negative hurts, the bad things that's going on in your life, the past. See how quickly that went away? Yeah. And we just used that just the other day to put flowers and have fall social in and do things with. Yep. And look at that. He's piling it up into a neat little pile. And then watch what he does. Watch what he does. Here he comes. And then he just comes and he just packs it down and sits right on top of it. That's what you need to do to all the bad stuff in your life. How long did that take? Not long at all. And all the bad stuff that you've thought about that's happened in your past with anybody that you've got going on in your life, just tear it down. Replace it with good words. Replace it with good things coming out of your mouth. Don't let anything in your life be poison again. You remember Jim Jones, they drank that stuff and every one of them died. Yes. Well, that's what happens with words in our mouth or words about the people around us. It affects people around us. It affects us. We choose what? Life. We choose life for us, and we that are spiritual want life for those around us, and that's what we can have. We can have it for everybody that's around us and inside of ourselves. We're going to say the right things about ourselves because God loves us. He sent Jesus for us. For us. Us. Right? He sent Jesus for you. There's things that you have to do in order to overcome things. You have to get that mouth working in the right direction. You have to get up in the morning and repent because you didn't get up and dance around your bed. Because you just have to kick the devil. He's not going to let you win. So get up and do it so you can start building yourself up and get strong in the Lord. Because if you can't be strong, you can't be strong for the people that are beside you. Amen. And people beside you need somebody strong. That's the greatest joy, one of the greatest joys I have in my life, is I have a husband that is never swayed by the winds. He's never swayed by the storms. He's never swayed by the ups and downs of the economy. He's not swayed by the lightning or by the this or by the that or by anything that's going on. He's just, Y'all know him? Look at my sisters up there, my daddy. The other day, I'm going to tell you, he had to go to flight school the other day. The lady was giving him his exam. She says, she starts an engine on fire. He's flying, I forget where he was flying when it was happening. And one of the engines are on fire, and he's talking to himself as he's putting out the fire. He says, engine 2's on fire. And he just keeps flying. After the exam, she says, I have never seen anybody so calm with an engine fire. She said, you just said the engine's on fire. And after it was all done, he said, okay, we'll trim that up. We'll take this engine. We'll fire extinguisher. We'll do this. She said, you just talked yourself right through it after you got up to level and to the speed and everything that you were supposed to do. And he said, you can react. He said, and grab the wrong switch and turn off the wrong engine and then turn off your left engine and it was the right engine and both your engines be dead and then you fall out of the sky. But you know what has made him the way that he is? I remember it so vividly. When we first started getting into the things of God, when everybody else was going out to dinner, everybody else was partying, everybody else was watching TV, everybody else was doing things that they wanted to do, Keith had his Bible out at his desk, and he was just reading chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter. And all he was doing was getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, you can pretend like it doesn't matter, but that is the absolute only thing that will make you stronger. And dependent upon how weak you are right now, if all you did this afternoon was sit there and read Matthew, and like he said, read Philippians for dessert to get yourself built up, that's what you should do. We are deficient in the Word, guys. We try to pretend like we're these strong, stalwart Christians. But you can't just come to church on Sunday morning and hear, however long Keith goes sometimes, that long of a message, and deal with all the stuff you have to deal with in the world. You won't be strong enough. You could be drained 30 minutes after you walk out this door by somebody pulling out in front of you in the parking lot, and you lose your temper with them, and it just drain everything you got in you by the names you call them. And then the whole rest of the week, what are you going on? You don't have anything else to give anyone else. You have no strength inside of you. You have no good words to say over anyone else because you don't have any spiritual strength left inside you. This Bible was given to us for a reason. And it takes everything most people have got to read a chapter a day. And most people, if they would be totally honest, fight getting the time in to read that chapter a day. And then they wonder why they're not strong enough to take it when their wife says something negative, or their husband says something negative, or the school teacher said something bad about their kids, or the boss told them they had to work extra, or the coworker said something bad or didn't treat them right. Or their husband doesn't give them all the things that they want for Christmas. He doesn't recognize them, or whatever it is. We have to be stronger than that, guys. We can't be moved by every little thing that goes on. Then our words that come out of our mouth will be blessing words to other people. They will be joy words to other people. We will choose life for us and for others, those that are around us. But we can't do it just on one stale bagel on Sunday morning sometimes. Right? Stand on your feet. Thank you, Lord.